Before we begin, viewer discretion is strongly advised. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. The courtroom was cold, not in temperature but in energy. You could feel it when you stepped in. It felt like the walls had heard too many secrets and kept them locked inside. Reporters were packed on the wooden benches, their pens moving fast, scribbling every glance and whisper like their lives depended on it. Fans, music industry people, and curious strangers sat close, their quiet talks buzzing like a storm about to hit. Sean Diddy Combs sat at the defendant's table. Not the lively mogul you have seen dancing in music videos. He was rigid now, pale, trembling every now and then, as if some part of him knew what was coming, but he hoped it would not. The judge banged his gavel, sharp and loud, and the room went silent like someone turned off the world. The judge's voice echoed, "Call your next witness." The courtroom door opened, and for some seconds, the world stopped breathing. It was her, Robin Rihanna Fenty, global icon, fashion mogul, billionaire, survivor. She walked in wearing all black, simple but elegant. Her eyes, cool, steady, and unreadable, scanned the room. No fear, no hesitation. She stepped into the bright lights of the courthouse, standing tall like she was born for this moment. At 37, she was a music legend, with songs like Umbrella and Stay loved everywhere, and her Fenty Beauty brand a huge success. You could hear the scribbles of reporters scribbling her name like it was gospel. Diddy did not blink, but his fingers gripped the table hard. He was scared deep down. But on this hot morning, Rihanna was not here to sing. She was here to testify against Sean Diddy Combs in a trial that would show the dark side of the music world. Her story would drop a big surprise about Diddy's size, suggesting that he went a little bit too far, but stayed careful with her words. She walked to the stand, her eyes calm but sharp like they could see through walls. The courtroom changed. The whispers stopped. The air felt heavy, like a big truth was about to come out. She raised her hand, swore to tell the truth, and faced the prosecuting lawyer. The prosecutor spoke softly, like he was talking to someone important. "Mr. Fenty, can you tell us about the night of May 17, 2017? Rihanna nodded, her face steady, and started talking, her voice clear and strong, pulling everyone into her story. "I was in LA, she said. I had just finished a photo shoot for Fenty. Diddy invited me to what he called a business dinner." She explained that Diddy had been trying to get her to join a new fashion platform, something he said could be as big as the biggest luxury brands. He had called her many times, saying her music and style could make it special. "I was not sure," she told the court, her voice slow and careful. "I had my own projects, my music, my brand. But Diddy would not stop. He said I was the only one who could make it work. So I said I would meet him." The dinner was at a big house in the Hollywood Hills, the kind that looks like a dream from the outside but felt strange inside, like a place with too many shadows. Cameras watched every corner, and guards stood at the gate, their faces blank, not saying a word. "Diddy met me at the door," Rihanna said, her voice steady but full of memory. "He was holding a drink, wearing sunglasses even though it was dark, smiling big. He said I looked more valuable than gold." I laughed a little. I thought he was just being his usual flashy self. But her voice got serious, making everyone pay attention. "I didn't know," she said, pausing to let the words hit, "what that night was really about." The house was not full of business people like she expected. There were only 5 men inside. She knew 2 as music producers, 1 as a banker from London. The other 2 were strangers, their eyes cold, their smiles too smooth. She thought there would be a team, a plan, talk about the fashion platform. Instead, the lights were dim, red and hazy with champagne bottles everywhere and music playing. "It didn't feel like a meeting," Rihanna said, her eyes narrowing as she remembered. "It felt like a trap." The prosecutor leaned in, his voice kind but wanting more. "Ms. Fenty, what happened next?" Rihanna took a deep breath, slow and steady, and kept going. "Diddy took me to a room upstairs," she said. "He said he wanted to show me something about the platform, a big idea. But the room was not for business. The lights were low, purple and smoky, making everything look strange. Candles burned on a glass table, their flames dancing like they were alive. A big couch sat in the middle like it was meant for something private. There was no computer, no papers, nothing about the fashion platform. Then he sat next to me, Rihanna said, her voice quiet but strong, really close, closer than he needed to be. He poured me a drink even though I said I did not want one. He kept pushing it, smiling, saying I should get comfortable to hear his plan. The courtroom was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. He started talking about being a legend, she went on, how the biggest people in music break rules to stay on top. Then he looked at me, his eyes too intense, and said, "You are not just a brand, Riri, you are a fantasy. And fantasies belong to the circle." The prosecutor asked gently, "What did you think he meant by that?" Rihanna did not answer right away. She looked at the jury, her eyes holding theirs. "At first, I thought it was just Diddy talking big," she said. "But then he put his hand on my leg." The courtroom murmured, the sound soft but heavy. Rihanna did not cry or look away. She kept talking, her voice steady like a rock. It was not a friendly touch. It was like he was saying he could do what he wanted. She paused, letting everyone feel her words. He said, "If you want to run this industry, you have to let go of the rules. Let me show you what real power feels like." The defense tried to stop her, saying it was not right, but the judge let her keep going, his eyes on her. Then he whispered something I'll never forget. Rihanna said, her voice very calm. He said, "You don't know how big I am, in every way." People in the courtroom murmured again, louder this time. Reporters stopped writing, their pens still. The judge leaned forward, his face serious. Diddy did not move, but his hands held the table so tight it looked like he might break it. "It was not just flirting," Rihanna said, her voice cutting through the quiet. "It was like he was warning me. His power, his fame, everything about him, he was saying I had to listen to him. It felt like he wanted to control me, not just work with me." The prosecutor asked softly, "Did he do anything else?" Rihanna's eyes stayed strong. "Yes," she said. "He became more aggressive," she said. "He made inappropriate comments, touched me without consent. I was shocked and tried to distance myself. He leaned in like he was going to kiss me. I pulled back fast. He grabbed my wrist, not hard enough to hurt, but enough to show he was serious, like he was testing me." She looked at the jury, not backing down. "I stood up, said I needed to use the bathroom, and walked out. I went downstairs, past the guards, and left. I didn't say goodbye." The courtroom was silent. The prosecutor nodded, his voice calm. "Ms. Fenty, why didn't you tell anyone back then?" Rihanna's face softened, showing a little sadness. "I did not think people would believe me," she said. "Diddy was so big in music. He knew everyone, controlled so much. I was building Fenty, making new songs. I thought telling someone would ruin me, not him." She paused, her voice getting stronger. "But now I'm here. Staying quiet does not help anybody." The defense stood up, their voice smooth but sneaky, like they were trying to trick her. "Miss Fenty," they said, walking slowly, "you are a huge star, always in the spotlight. Could you be remembering that night wrong because of all the fame?" Rihanna looked right at them, her voice hard. "I know what happened. Being famous does not change what I felt." The defense showed a picture from a music party that year, with Rihanna smiling next to Diddy. "You look happy here," they said. "Maybe things were not as bad as you say?" Rihanna did not blink. "A picture shows one moment," she said. "Smiling does not mean I was okay with what he did later." The defense tried again, their voice louder. "You say Mr. Combs acted indecently, but didn't you keep working with him after that night?" Rihanna replied, her voice clear and sharp. "I tried to keep it professional. I wanted to protect my work, my career. That does not mean I was okay with how he acted." The prosecutor stood up, his voice strong but kind. "Miss Fenty, can you tell us more about how the house felt that night?" Rihanna nodded, her eyes looking back in time. "At first it was like a fancy party, but then I saw things. People being taken to other rooms, some looking scared. The men were not talking about business. They were watching everyone like they were waiting for something bad. It felt like a place where secrets were kept." The prosecutor moved closer. "What else did Mr. Combs do or say that made you feel bad?" Rihanna's voice got harder. "He kept saying things about how I looked, how we could be something special. He touched me without asking, first my leg, then my wrist. When I moved away, he got annoyed, like I was supposed to let him. The courtroom was so quiet it felt heavy. He acted like his power let him do anything, she said. His size was not just about being famous. It was about making you feel like you had to do what he wanted in every way. Rihanna's voice shook a little as she talked about how it felt. That night stayed with me, she said. I felt like he took something from me, not just my trust, but my sense of safety. He made me feel small, like my voice did not matter. I did not tell anyone at first, thinking no one would care. But when I heard other people sharing their stories, I knew I had to speak. She looked at the jury, her eyes full of fire. This is not just for me. It is for every artist who has been pushed, told to be quiet, made to feel like their music is not theirs. The defense tried one last time, their voice almost begging. Ms. Fenty, you are so strong and famous. Could this just be a misunderstanding that you are making bigger than it is? Rihanna's voice was like a spark. I know what I felt. I know what he said and did. Being strong does not mean you can't be hurt. The courtroom stayed silent, her words hitting everyone like a wave. Her final words were like a song that everyone felt, strong and clear as she stood tall, looking at the jury. This is not about money, she said, her eyes moving across the room, stopping on Diddy, who sat still, his face pale, his hands tight like he was holding on for dear life. This is about what is right. Sean thought his size could control me. My choices, my voice. He used his power to push, to make me feel like I owed him something more. But I'm Rihanna. My voice is mine, and it is for every artist who has been told to stay silent, every person who has been made to feel small. I'm here to say enough. Rihanna's voice echoed in the silent courtroom, a powerful note of truth that refused to be silenced. Her stand was a call for every artist to reclaim their power and never let anyone dim their light.